You either live with the choices you make, or die trying to change them. The story doesn't end here.
Finally, we know what Bioware's next IP looks like. What we originally called Project Dylan was given a name yesterday at the EA Play conference, and that name is Anthem. Today, on Microsoft stage, we also saw the first gameplay, and well, if this is a fair reflection of the final experience, it looks incredible, even with the fake team chat that we had to listen to.
Bam, looking good. Nice, you've got a mortar equipped.
Yeah, I got it on the weekend.
Alright, so first up, what kind of game is this going to be? Anthem is a multiplayer open-world shooter with, I think, plenty of loot. It's fair to say that games like Destiny and The Division have probably been an inspiration here, with a raid maybe pointed out at the beginning there, and later on, after completing their objective in the demo, we see one of the players receive a legendary weapon as a reward. That all sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, I think Bungie might have some big competition here. But, as we can already see, there's also going to be some differences too. Like, for example, the rather impressive amount of verticality on display during this demo. Each player is equipped with their own exosuit called a Javelin, and you can probably see why they're called that, and right from the first jump at the beginning, the gameplay shows both players flying through the world like they're in an Iron Man movie. One of the best moments being this bit right here as they approach a group of enemies, with one player drawing their fire while the other dives underwater, and their suit still pushes them forwards. We're told Anthem will offer a vast open world for you to explore, and this seems like a really fun way of getting around it. Those exosuits are also meant to offer some degree of customization. The two players we saw in the demo were both playing different classes, one of them a Colossus, which is bigger and meant to act as the tank of the group, while the other is using a Ranger Javelin, and that seems to be a more jack-of-all-trades setup. As well as the primary weapons that each player uses and can swap out depending on what they find, they also have access to what looks to be a special attack. The Colossus uses a shoulder-mounted mortar, while the Ranger uses homing missiles. And we don't know if those weapons are class-specific or exactly how the two characters really play differently in combat, but experience points are mentioned at one point, which suggests some kind of leveling system and perhaps abilities that can be unlocked.
Have you been in there yet?
I haven't. We should do that later with Kim.
Yeah, you could use the XP.
Right at the end of the gameplay, we see our two players stumble into a dynamic world event, which in this case is something called a Shaper Storm, and, well, it's actually kind of difficult to tell exactly what this is all about. But it's interesting to note that as the event begins, it was possible for them to team up with two additional players who may have been nearby. After running through the storm and avoiding a number of potential health hazards along the way, the group jumps into the storm's vortex and, well, that's actually where the gameplay stops. If I had to guess, given the fact that the players chose to team up at this stage, this is probably the entrance to a group mission, maybe some kind of dungeon, that you can only access if you find yourself in the middle of one of these world events as it's all kicking off. Or, you know, maybe that's not it. Maybe they shouldn't have dived into the vortex quite so enthusiastically, and they all died horrible deaths.
See you on the other side.
Okay, so we just mentioned the end of the gameplay demo, but if we go back to the very start, we'll see what looks to be the game's main hub world, a place called Tarsis. And hang on, shouldn't you be in Horizon Zero Dawn? Anyway, we're told that only freelancers, which is the name given to the player characters, are allowed to go beyond the wall that protects this place, in search of things to shoot and loot to acquire and, well, whatever else you do in this game. But we imagine that this right here is the place that you keep coming back to in between those moments, similar to Destiny's Tower. So new missions maybe, or speaking to merchants, or this could just be a place to hang out with your pals too. And yeah, once again, because I don't think we did it justice the first time around, that big robot lives here as well. Look at it, it's massive. And there we are, first look at Anthem. What do you make of it? It looks very pretty, right? Everyone can agree on that bit, but what do you think of the comparisons to games like Destiny and The Division? Does that put you off? Are you excited to see what Bioware can do with this genre? Well, what do you think? Either way, we'll be following this one closely, and we're also at E3 all week, so do check out some of the other videos we've been working on, and come back throughout the show to see what we're up to. Cool. See you then. Bye.
The wall. It's our armor. It protects us from what lies beyond. You either live with the choices you make, or die trying to change them.